So there are people out there who are so in love with their idea of loving someone. That woman that speaks so highly, she's so much in love with the idea, her own idea of loving someone.
Yeah. What we have found more of the women is that their husbands are not the source of their unhappiness. Yes, and then this source comes from somewhere else. As a result of that, now their husbands, now they become kind of a target.
Because I never anticipated to be with this kind of a man.
Yeah.
I wanted something else. Now, I criticize this any moment or a chance I get. So that, remember, the more the critic, the more the resentment.
Many couples in their marriage, as they are married, they are not actually married to their best candidate.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. They are married to their hope.
Yes, yes. The train missed them.
Yes.
And then this guy or this woman came in as a consolation.
Yes. But we've got a whole lot of guys out there that don't know that.
Yeah.
That they didn't realize that when they said in sickness and in health, they were actually saying, I'm going to take this mentally distorted or disturbed person of mine and love them, with their mental issue. Welcome to Insightful Exchange, a platform where we deliberate on important matters, issues that affect your life, your relationship, your children, your family, our communities at large. But we are here to say, come closer, listen to us. Let's see how we can resolve some of the issues that you might be facing in your marriage, in your families, and maybe in your entire community. But we are here to talk about those issues that you don't want to address or you don't want to talk about. Maybe your spouse is sitting there saying, let us not resolve this one. But it keeps creeping in your marriage, affecting your relationship, and yet you are not addressing it. I'm not alone. I'm with my partner in resolving issues, Mr. Lemza. Lemza, how are you this morning?
Hey, I'm good, man. Yourself?
I'm fabulous, my man. You're wearing a suit, man.
Yes, I see you as well, man. I like that.
It's
green.
The brief, my brother.
I'm not sure if it's green. Last time my daughter said, I'm not good with colors.
Yeah,
is this green?
No. This is...
Or what?
I don't even know what to call it. My wife bought it for me.
Or avocado. You know these
I can't
colors,
call it green.
Man.
My wife bought it for me. He calls it something else.
Yeah, or mint. So,
mint,
so they
something
say
like
mint,
that. Yeah.
They say avocado. They say grass.
Exactly. But at least at the end of the day, it's got green in it. My wife mustn't hear me saying that.
So we have this basic color.
Yes.
It's green.
Yes.
What type of green?
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
It doesn't matter. My brother.
Yes.
You know what? I don't know if you've realized, and recently this is what I'm picking up. When people come for counseling, there's something that seems to be hidden in these issues that we are dealing with.
Yes.
It's like there is a constant source of unhappiness that people don't know how to break away from or even identify. And you find that they're struggling to break free from the resentment that they are picking up from their marriages or relationships. And I mean, psychology tells us that usually when somebody finds it difficult to break away from something, there could be hidden things or issues or factors that are affecting them. So I want us to help our viewers at home that if they have got, constant unhappiness in their relationship or marriage, what should they look for? What's happening? And could they identify what are the sources of this unhappiness? I don't know if you've ever come across such a thing.
Hey, my brother, you know what we are bringing, it's kind of very prominent.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we deal with people, and I've come across with that couples coming to say, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Everything looks like it's going well, basically in the outside. You find that these couples, they are very career-oriented. There's money in the house. There's kind of life. They've got everything. But there is kind of that lack of magnet, that which brings them together. It's just like it's pushing them. It's psychological, spiritually pushing them together.
Yeah.
Like you know when we're growing up, I remember now to say there is this this magnets from
Yes.
from
the speakers.
from the speaker.
Yes.
You know, when you turn them to another
It
side,
repels.
you try to bring them
repels,
together.
yeah.
So there are marriages like
Yeah,
that, and then
yeah.
that's resentment. Is what we are bringing for us to say. There are these marriages that which they try to come together, and then they are both kind of magnets. There is some similarities when you look at them at the distance to say, this couple, wow, it's a wow couple in whatever way. But when they stay together and then to them as themselves, they realize that they kind of repel each other. They can't have this emotional attachment.
This intimate relationship.
Yes,
that they are
it's kind of very much absent. And of course, we do find that. And many marriages are going through that. They find that we don't know what is happening. But if we can sit, therefore, and then when we sit with individuals, we start to realize to say, there are things that which are happening in these people. And with the people that, of course, I've made conversation on, I have found that this resentment is more on the women's side. We don't say men do not have that level of resentment towards their wives, but we have found that there is kind of more in women, that resentment. So mostly in men, you'll find that resentment, it has kind of a relational historical background between themselves. To say, this man will say, you know what, this woman has done 1, 2, 3. And then I find it difficult for my heart to forgive. So you find it that there is a lack of forgiveness. But what we have found more, that's why I bring to the women's side to say, what we have found more of the women is that their husbands are not the source of their unhappiness. Yes, and then this source comes from somewhere else. As a result that now their husbands, now they become kind of a target. And you'll find that what is painful then, you'll find this husband will say, you know what, I've tried it all to please this woman, but there is nothing that which pleases my wife. And then as we need to bring forth to say it goes the same way, but we bring in terms of a prominency to say, there are of course other women who will say, you know what, I've done it all I could to please this husband, but I am failing. This man cannot be pleased. And then of course then we then find it to say, most marriages, we need to be clear to say, in many and in most marriages, you'll find it that the other partner believes that he's a source of the unhappiness of their spouse, while actually that is not. Just that is that the spouse present is a soft target.
Yeah. You know what I want us to do?
Yes.
And I think for the benefit of our viewers out there, this is for me, the most important subject.
Yes. So
I want us to look at where could, or if there could be, a relationship of some sort between what people are feeling now in their current relationship and where they come from. So their families of origin, number one. And I want us to look at, could this be also spiritual? So maybe they are, suffering from some kind of dysfunction from their families of origin, or some generational, trauma or curse, for that matter, that they might have inherited. So you go back, you find that, let's take whether it's a wife or a husband, their mother or their father had the same issues that they are having.
Yes.
And then you go back again, you find the similar thing or the same thing, with the grandparents. So right there, you may find that maybe we've got a spiritual challenge.
Yeah.
That's number one. And then coming here, we might be also sitting with issues of expectations. That, there are people, when they were growing up, their parents even told them, Wena Mokadi, you're going to be married to a doctor. Now, this woman is, groomed in such a way that she becomes so, she's got a heightened sense of self while growing up, thinking that I'm going to be married to a doctor, I'm going to perform at school, I'm going to be, number one in my class and so forth. And they start to conduct themselves in that way. But unfortunately, life doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Then he grew up, he realized, he's now ending up with this guy who works at a retail store. And suddenly, the subconscious mind doesn't forget. It records everything. She then remembers that, growing up, I was destined to be married to a doctor.
Yes.
Now he's looking at this mabrugwada every now and again, coming home after work, with his meager income. And she's angry at the fact that she could not, achieve that which she wanted to achieve as a young woman growing up. Now she starts to hate this guy.
Sure.
But she's not telling this guy why she hates him. She acts out every time this guy, is trying to do something, whether to be a good man or whatever the case is, because she's upset at what happened, when she was growing up.
Yes.
So that's another aspect.
Yes.
So now we are dealing with a psychosocial aspect here.
Yes.
So I want you to help us. And I want us to be fair to our audience to say, this can happen in both men and women.
Yes.
Because we know that we've got men who are like narcissists. And you cannot satisfy them regardless of what you want. You will never be enough in this man's eyes. You always try your best to do things for them, to put them first. But no matter what you do, you are never going to be enough. There is some kind of a demon of unhappiness in their lives that no matter how much we try to connect, we find ourselves pulling apart. So I'm setting the scene here for you to say, maybe let's go back to generational cases or trauma. Let's come back now to the expectations.
Yes.
Could that be creating this unhappiness? Could that, which we learned from our family of origin, be creating this unhappiness? And we are not talking about that. Instead, I'm hiding it, but I'm expecting you to be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think our viewers will appreciate how you have set up the field.
Yes.
Already, they can identify with the field you have set up in terms of the spectrum of this, to say how spread it is in terms of the unhappiness. And then in coming into the conversation that which you are bringing in, let me begin in this to say, you will find that many couples in their marriage, as they are married, they are not actually married to their best candidate.
Yes.
Yes.
They are married to their hope.
Yes. The train missed them.
Yes.
And then this guy or this woman came in as a consolation.
Yes. They are married to availability, in essence.
They are married to availability and to the brokenness.
Yes.
Of saying
yes.
that I can also get married.
Yeah. But are parents not also contributing to that, which you are saying? Because when are you getting married? When are you having a child? All those things that now you are being so pressurized. Now Solomon comes, you just grab Solomon because he was the one available to fulfill the desires of the parents.
Yes.
Yes.
Is the parents or the family is an influencer into this? The church is an influencer on this.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they keep on greeting you, brother. Yeah. Where's the makoti?
Yes.
Or sister?
Yes.
Hey, don't you see? There's no brother here that is. So there is that kind of pressure that which comes on people, and as a result, it's either number one. Let's bring into this to say most people will find that they are not married to their best candidate, but they are married to their availability. Number one, it could have been the failure of the previous relationship, of their best candidate, if we may, but their best candidate did not see them as the best.
It's the best, yeah.
Yeah,
Ish.
and then
Ish.
and then left them, and then now you grab any available person.
But they're sitting with trauma, these people.
You're sitting with a trauma.
Now you don't even want to go and find something that looks like your best candidate. So you end up saying, "Ha ke sa batla monna wa doctor." The doctor litla o heta. Now what do? You then reduce yourself to this retail guy. And I'm not saying that retail guys are bad. I'm just drawing parallels in terms of status here.
Yes. Yeah, because the reason for that parallel is that one person has aimed so high.
Yes.
Because that's another thing, expectations you spoke about. To say, this person has aimed so high to say, this is the life I'm going to live. This is the husband or the wife I'm going to have. And then you find that those that which you have expected were not available. And then now, sometimes you look at the time. And then now for you, it's just to say, I need that wedding dress. I need I need to see this woman coming in through the aisle. It does not matter who is that person, as long as I've got those pictures and Busang Studio is there to capture those
moment.
events, that moment, that it be known that I got married. But now that becomes a problem thereafter, because remember, with certain failure, remember trauma, it would come in different ways. It will come because the promised relationship did not occur, or it failed. That is, you had this person that which you were really sold out to. It's either that person never proposed you. Remember, that's another thing. To say you had this person that which you loved, but he has never come to you. But he went or she gotten someone else. And then that creates a trauma and a hate on you. And then sometimes then you had this relationship, but it failed. But also, the other thing is that you had the expectation and the anticipation of the kind of the person you want, but now you fell into this guy or into this woman. And then that, as a result, this person does not become the person that which you wanted. It then brings kind of a trauma. And then now you are in this relationship or you are in this marriage. When you're in this marriage, you've got the hate and the hurt and the trauma, and now resentment is built on you. To say, now you've got the anger towards this guy that which you are living with, and then this guy is not the source now of you being unhappy. Now you are grumpy in the house. You've got passive aggression. You are always now this guy you are staying with or this woman you are staying with. He can't even greet you. Just a greeting.
You snap.
You snap. It's violence, because you know that the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, because most people then would live with that. It will be those associations to say, if this guy you are staying with now is associated with the guy you hope for, that it could be, but now he's not the guy.
It's opposite of that.
He's opposite of that. And then now, that's why now you snap. And of course, you'll find that it's not in your knowledge. And most of the people, many people, they don't know that they are snapping to their husbands or to their wives. Even though when you tell them to say, look, you are not in your spirit is not right towards me. Say, I know, I'm just like this. You see, because they are not aware it's a passive aggression. That's what a passive aggression is, because there is a deep-seated hate, a deep-seated hate.
That has got nothing to do with this person.
It has completely nothing to do with this person.
But what I've picked up in that is that they then create something that they can hate about this person. Whatever it is. And I'm going to give an example. You may find that they've got children. These children look like this guy. You know? You start to hear, you know, it's not like there's something wrong with these children. It's that because I never anticipated to be with this kind of a man, I wanted something else. Now, I criticize this any moment or a chance I get. So that, remember, the more the critic, the more the resentment.
Yes.
Now, because remember, you need to have evidence of something that this man does that irritates you. So you are going to find something wrong with him because you are not willing to go and confront that which is hidden, which is the real issue. You instead start to fault him. The more you fault him, the more he becomes worse.
Yeah.
The more you speak ill of him, the more he becomes that which you despise.
Yes.
And that's why you find that most of these people in this relationship who are unhappy, they've got something negative at all time to say about their spouse or their partner. They take it even further. They then see themselves as a victim. So every chance they get to speak bad about their partner to somebody else, they do that. My partner drinks. My partner does not stay at home. My partner does not give me money. Even if that guy gives them money.
Yeah. Then those things are exaggerated.
Yes. So they exaggerate these things so that the day they leave their partner, the community knows that, no, that man was not good for that woman.
Yeah.
Until they hear the man speaking to say,
Hey.
I've tried to make this woman happy. But no matter how hard I tried, she never wanted to be happy.
Yes.
So this reminds me, I'm busy trying to figure out if I should write this book or not. It's called In His Eyes, I Was Never Enough. Now that for as long as somebody has got trauma, this trauma could have been picked up from when they were young, from the family of origin. This trauma could have been created by their previous, relationships. Now, for as long as they have got trauma that they haven't dealt with, anybody who comes into their life becomes a target.
Definitely.
And that person will always be lacking in something. They will never say, I've now found a man that completes my world. And I don't want to say completes me because you got to be complete when you go into a relationship.
Yes.
So I found somebody who completes my world.
Yeah.
So where I am existing, I can be happy because I've got this, and that. Now, I want us to even go there.
Yeah.
That how then do we bring this to their attention to say, it's not this man? And how then do we say to this man, it's not you? Because I've seen men killing themselves, literally, shooting themselves because they are unable to satisfy this particular woman.
Yeah.
Now, and this is what we are dealing with today, to say there is constant unhappiness. It's almost chronic. That no matter what you do, this person finds a reason to be unhappy. You bring it in pink, they want it in green.
Yeah.
You bring it in green, they want it in red.
Yeah.
You bring it in red, it does not end at any point. So, and I want us to bring this to the fore, because bear in mind that your subconscious mind operates in darkness. Meaning you are not aware of most of the things that are happening in your life. And this is what you mentioned earlier on, to say they are not aware that there's this passive aggressiveness. But the other partner is experiencing it. And no matter how much they say, but you are being hostile towards me, they deny that reality.
Yeah. Look. You find stories like a woman complaining about her husband. You don't help me with the chores. In the house.
Yes.
You are doing nothing. You are the man for nothing. And then the following day, and the husband wake up and then does some chores and then cleans and then cooks.
Even bust the children.
Yes, and do all of that. And then the woman comes. Unahana uklinile how yenseje. What kind of food you have cooked there? You see, it's what you have just said.
Yes.
You have just said, to say, touch is a move.
Yes.
Anything you do, you'll find a complaint.
Yes,
That
yes.
is, there is no perfection that which can be found in you. And at the time, you have tried your utmost best to do what is best, but your partner does not find that, because there is that level of resentment, there is that level of hate that individual has, and it's not you. And then you were rightly saying, to say many people, we generalize, not just only women but also men, to say many couples or individuals in marriages, you find it that now they started to withdraw from their marriage, because they say there is nothing I do that is meaningful. It's better for me than to sit down and watch
nothing,
things.
yeah.
Yes, and do nothing. And if someone is an extrovert, will be outside partying and be with everyone and never come home. And to say, because when I come home, maybe I'm late with 5 minutes on the normal time. And then I will be told to say, Yasuga, Uri, you spend the whole night away from it. And then it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's how resentment can go. It exaggerates the reality. And then it takes things out of the reality and it makes it worse. And we want to say, of course, to those men and to those women, to say, if you can pay attention and realize that it's not my fault, it's not what I have done to this man or to this woman, this person generally is not satisfied, is not a person that which is happy. And then genetically so, that probably comes from the family of origin and also being socialized in the family. He has found that is coming from the family where there is no fulfillment generally. That you know those families, they complain about everything, and you grow up in the family of complaint.
But let me throw a spanner here quickly. You just reminded me of something.
Yes.
Could that also, you said this family is complaining about everything. And I want to remind you as well, I personally have experienced that especially where we grow up in families where there's aunts, uncles, and in one household, you may find that there will be this particular person, whether it's your mother or your aunt, your uncle, who always criticize you growing up.
Sure.
Everything. When I need this, then you grow up listening to that.
Yes.
This is what you hear every day, that you are never going to be good enough anyway. Now you grow up, you get married. But that which you have learned from your family of origin now crops up from your subconscious. Now you then have learned to speak in the same way.
Yes.
Anybody who's close to you, you always tell them they're never good enough.
Yes.
Because that's what you grew up being told. And you've never seen the need to fix it because this was said by the people who were close to you, that you loved, that you admired, and you thought, maybe this is a way of life.
Yes.
People who are never going to be good enough. Now you are living with this person, you are doing exactly that which was done to you because you never knew what's better. You never grew up in a family where they encourage you. They tell you that you are preaching. They tell you that you are the best thing. They tell you that, look, you can achieve this greatness and so forth. You are always being told you are useless. And that's why even when you look at your matric certificate, Pastor life orientation got 30, math lit got 30. Good, even your performance, it's so meager, it's so poor. So you look at yourself and you look at your partner the way you see yourself growing up.
Sure.
So there's no way you can be all those things that were said in your family of origin and he can be anything better.
Sure.
Could that not be?
Yes, of course. That is the case, to say, because there's a song that was kept on saying to you.
It's a broken record.
Yes. You're not good, you're not better, you are not this, you are a failure, and all of that. And ultimately, when you are in the relationship as well, we know that relationships, they bring those traumas, they bring how we grew up. So we become the results basically in the relationship. That is why whenever we do premarital counseling, we have to go back to say, where are you coming from? Because where you come from is going to replicate in your marriage and in your relationship. And then we need to find how then we arrest that. And then we then get to say, now this individual has been fed so much negativity. And then when you find this person that which loves you so much, you spread the negativity. And then for you, it's how you need to talk with people. And then the other person says, but this guy or this woman is really tearing me apart. And then we say, one needs to understand to say, I am not the reason for this. This person has dragged all of this junk into my life, and then now is dumping everything onto me. And we really need to emphasize to say, if you are in that kind of marriage, you need not to break your heart, because you've got evidence already that you have attempted and tried to please this person, but this person is never pleased with anything.
Mfundisi, but then how do we deal with that? And I'm asking you this from a point of number one, Mfundisi. Let me take you out of your psychological profession, but I want to focus purely on the Bible. Now, and I'm looking at the relationship between Christ and the church.
Yes.
This is what marriage is all about in the Bible, the relationship between Christ and the church. Now, we are now and again as husbands told to lay our life down, for the church, which in this case is our wives. We are also told that our wives carry some kind of weakness, in their nature, and this weakness manifests itself in different forms. But now and again, as husbands, we are encouraged, to bear with their weaknesses. And we've got so many scriptures, that encourages us to bear with each other, understand that, nobody's perfect and so forth. At what point, Mfundisi, does one now say, no, enough, it's enough?
Yeah.
Christ of me, Christ. I don't want to be this Christ anymore, because I'm trying to be this Christ, but the more I become a Christ, I get now, crucified more than once.
Yes.
Even after I'm resurrected, again, now I can't even go back to heaven. I must go again to the cross.
Yeah.
So Christ is forever going to the cross. At what point, Fundis, do we say, you don't want to deal with your issues?
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I've got kids here.
Yeah.
Now we are no longer living for ourselves. We are living now for others.
Yeah.
This woman and these children. As Umfundis, from the biblical point of view, how do I get to a point where I say, enough, it's enough?
Yeah.
I can't take this anymore.
Yeah. Look, I'll bring that in this way. I'll bring that in this way. I have spoken to some people. I've spoken to some people to say, a psychologist knows if something is going to work and if something is not going to work.
Yes.
Knows if this person's behavior is going to change or is not going to change. And then also when they are in marriage, they also are fully aware to say, this is a problem that which I have to absorb the rest of my life.
Yes.
Because of the deeper knowledge of human behavior and the root cause. And then to say, is this behavior taught, and then to what extent as well neurological research is connected, and then that wiring is. And then the willingness of a person, of course, if the person is teachable, because then those connections to be reformed, it requires one to be teachable. And when one is not teachable, and then you absorb that and say, there's nothing we can do with this person. The same with brain traumas. We know that the brain traumas, depending to what extent, whenever there is kind of a brain trauma and some damages in the brain, you'll find that there will be dysfunctions in certain parts of the body. And then the doctors would tell and say, hey, you need to live without using this hand because it's not going to work, because where you are affected is connected to the functioning of either your speech or your
functions,
sight. Yeah. So that is so now there are things that which would look to say this is permanent. And now I'm coming to what you are saying, to say that's where now the vows and the decision comes into the place. When we come into spiritualizing this, to say that's where then we come into the space to say, then I need to absorb this. I need to stay with my vows, because when I have gotten married to this man or to this woman, then my vows, that which I have made to say in sickness and in health, just that other sicknesses are worse.
And I want you to hold it there,
Yeah.
because when you say sickness, usually people think of physical sickness.
Uh-huh.
Many people can actually, live with somebody who has some kind of physical impairment,
Yes.
or a physical sickness. But when they've got mental sickness, most of us, we don't even want to get next to them. So, and I'm saying this purely from that point to say, we have made a vow to live with these people in sickness and in health.
Yes.
Now, we now have identified that they've got generational sickness or generational mental sickness, which is whether a narcissism or whether it is a different disorder of some sort,
Yes.
OCD, or whatever it is. This person is sick mentally.
Yeah.
And you used an example of a psychologist earlier on. You and I, we are fortunate enough because we studied psychology.
Yes.
We understand psychology of the mind. We understand behavior. We know whether something will work or not work from our psychological point of understanding.
Yes.
So we know that. But we've got a whole lot of guys out there that don't know that.
Yeah.
That they didn't realize that when they said in sickness and in health, they were actually saying, I'm going to take this mentally distorted or disturbed person of mine and love them, with their mental issue. And here I'm not talking about an extreme DSM-5 issue.
Yes.
I'm talking about your daily, interaction with this person.
Yes, yes.
And one of this sickness is this inability, to speak well of you.
Sure.
It's this sickness that when they see you, they see rubbish. And it's this sickness for them to say, even when I tell you that you are rubbish, I'm not even aware that I'm insulting you.
Yeah.
So for me, you are rubbish. Why are you making it an issue? So that's normal for them. How then do we advise this Christ-like husband to say, you made a vow? You said you are going to be happy with them in their unhappiness.
Yes.
So help us there.
As you talk, I remember one guy then, he says, you know what? I've been listening to my wife when she speaks with other ladies.
Yeah.
I say, that's a wife I want.
Yes. When she speaks with other ladies at the seminars.
Yes.
Yeah. When she speaks about how they must treat their husbands.
I say, I need this woman.
Yeah.
Where is this
Yes.
woman? Because this woman who's talking here and advising other women
Yes.
is not the woman I live with
Yes.
in the house.
Yeah.
In the house is a total opposite.
Yeah. I'm not getting there.
Yes.
But again there, what you are saying, talk is cheap.
Yes.
It's easy to say things. It's easy, and especially with the Christian community, it's easy for us to follow Christ when things are going well.
Yeah.
But when things start to become more difficult, we start, our faith starts to wither a bit.
Yes.
We no longer know whether we are Christians or what. And that's just the reality. Now, what causes that woman out there to speak with understanding of what it takes to be a virtuous wife, and yet the practice at home is different? I mean, let's help the brother there.
Yes. I think you cracked it to say talk is cheap. It's easy to talk. People can research some information. But also, remember, other people, there is no congruency or agreement between what they say and what they do. And then for them, what they say actually is what they think they do.
In actual fact, yes.
Yes.
I'm good to my husband.
Yes, I'm good to my husband.
Yeah.
So whatever people bring that there is this wrong, they wonder,
How?
what are you saying? How? Because in their minds,
They are distorted.
Yeah, they are distorted. They are perfect to their husband, and they can tell you, this is the worst story. Ne? This is the worst part, and then most people, they know this. To say your spouse would so believe that he or she loves you, she takes care of you, he's there for you, and then only to find that all of those are absent. It's just the distortion is what the person believes is doing, and then but in practice that is not the real thing, that which is happening. And then, of course, you are saying that some people are really crushed into that. And then now we say, because we in this platform, we want to find the people to say people must find solutions and find ways. Then you brought the issue of Christ earlier on and say, how do we stand into that? And then I say, we need to stick to our vows. And
so I must take it as sick as it is.
Man, we but ketile.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Mfundisi, and I agree with you when you say ketile here. And I don't want us to sound as though we are also perpetuating abuse.
Yes.
Because that particular woman that you spoke about, they sometimes lack a sense of abuse. They don't know when they are actually abusive to their spouses.
Sure.
And like you said, I love my husband, I respect my husband. But that respect and that love, it's coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of narcissism. Now, if you understand narcissism, it comes from the Greek mythology. There was this particular character called, Narcissus.
Yes.
And this is where this narcissism comes from. But this person was so much in love with his own image. Then you need to understand that.
Yeah.
Now, and I want to be very slow in explaining this narcissism,
Yes.
so that people understand it. Now, he was so in love with his own image. So there are people out there who are so in love with their idea of loving someone. That woman that speaks so highly, she's so much in love with the idea, her own idea of loving someone.
Yeah.
But the action is not in line with that.
Sure.
So she tells people that she's respectful, she's loving, she's kind and understanding, because she's speaking from this well of loving herself or her idea of being in love with someone. But that cannot translate, because the person that they are with cannot match that idea that they have got of themselves. And that's why this hatred, this resentment that now eventually caused this unhappiness.
Sure.
So we need to teach it to understand, to make them understand the depth of why is it difficult to even see what I'm doing to my spouse. And that's why you sit in counseling with either the husband or the wife, and they deny treating their spouses so bad. Because where they're coming from, it's impossible that they can be operating from evil, because they are so much in love with this goodness of their toxic love. So they are operating from a misguided, premise of them loving something so much. They've got the love inside of them.
Yeah.
They've got the great idea, but the love is not translated to you because it's only limited to loving themselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we need our viewers to understand that the reason why there could be incongruence in what one is saying and what one is doing is because the love is not invested into their partner. It's invested in loving themselves.
Sure. Yo, man, when you are talking here and I'm saying, our viewers are fortunate with such a sea of information. So such a sea of information that which they are getting from insightful exchange. Indeed, it is an insightful exchange. Look. I want to align as well what you are saying with these two gentlemen, Johari. So they've given us a window to say there is a person that which is known unto me, and many people you find they are absorbed into this a person that which is known unto me, to say this is the person I am. But there is a side of me that which people observe, that which I'm not aware of. That is why then I need, for me, I say my growth point is not so much of what I know about myself, but what people are saying of me. either good or bad, I need also to check to say, what are the critics that which other people are saying? And then I should not dispute that and say,
I must receive it.
I must receive that.
And do something
Yes.
about it. Yeah.
Yes, and start to reflect. What we are saying now, we are bringing our viewers kind of a solution to say, the critics you are getting, whenever your partner indicated to say, look, I don't like the way you engage with me. I don't like your heart. I don't like your spirit. Don't refute that, but take that and review your life and say,
Could it be?
Could it be?
Yeah.
Because there is a possibility.
Yes.
Remember, it's not you that you are speaking to self, but you are talking to me. You are engaging to me. Is your partner that receive that hurt, that receive that pain. And then therefore it becomes my responsibility when my partner reflects certain things that she looks like that I am not accepting her and I'm not happy about anything that which she's doing. I need therefore not to refute that, but to look at it and say, how can I therefore do things much more better going forward? I must take that responsibility. But listen now, it takes maturity. It takes soberness. It takes the love for that institution of marriage, and to say, I need this marriage to work, and I need our lives together to work with my partner. And because I need to be a safe place, a safe haven, if you may, for my partner, that both of us, the days that God have given us, we need to enjoy them.
They are limited.
Yes, they are limited. They are limited. And we find, you know what's the painful thing? Is that we find many people, when their spouse have died, they compensate that with a very expensive marriage, funeral, to compensate their pain. And then to make as if people say, to show people, I loved this man.
Look at how I buried him.
Yes.
Look at his coffin. Look at the tombstone. The food that you're eating.
Yes.
I loved my husband. But it's only making up.
Yes, you're trying to make up.
But tell me something. Here's a husband. We have a husband sitting at home, watching this episode.
Yes.
And he's looking at his wife and he's saying, are you hearing what these gentlemen are saying? This is what I've been saying to you all along.
Yeah.
Now, this guy says, I'm tired. When I get tired of you and I go and I spend time with the guys at the bar, you follow me to the bar. You pick me up. You bring me home. I come home. I'm now sitting here with my feet stretched out, with my beer on the table. You come out of the bedroom. Now, I can't even be happy in my own home.
Sure.
I can't be happy in the street because you speak bad of me. You go, you drag me out of the street. You tell people bad about me. And when I try to address this with you, you fight me. Now I have resorted to keeping quiet.
Sure.
Because there is nothing that gets through to you. Yes, this husband sitting at home right now. Now, here's this guy who says, guys, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Why should I even bother talking to my wife?
Yes.
Because there's defense after defense after defense after defense, belittling, attacking, and all sorts of things, and she's never wrong.
Yeah.
There's always me who needs to fix me.
Sure.
Yeah. And there's nothing to fix on her. And while you are giving us advice on what to do, I want you to speak about this kind of people who says there's everything wrong with you and nothing wrong with me. Could there be something deeply flawed with them? How do we advise this guy?
Yeah, look, we say number one, and then this has been what we've been talking for the longest time, and we want to emphasize this one more time. And then we have seen it working, to say there are couples that arrive where they swallow their pride and say, look, we need to see the professionals. And then we have found other people, you know, other people, whenever they come for our services, you'll find the other partner is like was dragged into the session. And you see as they are sitting there to say, this one is dragged. But as the session progress, and then people started to really to realize, to say, actually, this is what I wanted. Because they start to see, to say, at least now there is a person who can hear both of us without any favoritism and guide us both. So we say, number one, this couple, they must make a resolution. They must
what if this partner who's always critical doesn't want counseling?
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about the husband here. I'm talking about the same wife who says, if you want counseling, you are the one who needs help. I'm fine.
Yes, that's why we say, number one, let there be that both of them saying, let us swallow the pride.
Okay, so we're also talking to this woman to say,
yes,
or to this guy for that matter, to say, swallow your own pride. Go and sit with somebody neutral.
Yes.
But also when you get there, be open and honest.
Definitely.
And don't rush there to cry, and you're not taking your spouse there. You are going to resolve an issue that you have in your marriage. You're not going to resolve each other.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And then that is one. Of course, then when they come to the sessions, then there are a number of tactics that which we are using to assist them. But now what we want to bring also here is that we know that a lot of behaviors were dialectically infused to people. That, as you said earlier on, this person grew up being told and told all negativity and all of negativity. To say, in the same way, dialectically as well, we can reverse that by means of the person that which is abused in this instance, if you may bring it in that way, that the other partner is never satisfied. To say, you can also start to speak differently with this person, appreciate this person. Speak, that is, you infuse a positive look. That is, your conversation must change whenever you converse with this person in order to plant a new seed. And then when you plant a new seed, we know, of course, to say words create ultimately. They may take a little bit of some time, but consistency is key. So one needs to be consistent and make aware of your partner in terms of the direction you are taking. Make aware of your partner whenever your partner is that negative, and then rebuke that. But of course, in love. So whenever people come to make conversation with us, we give guidance in terms of how to rebuke that. It's not in a negative way, but is to outline, to say, hey, now you are stepping off the line. Remember, this is the direction. This is how I like you to engage with me. This is how I would like you to receive what I am giving to you. If I give some gifts to you, you need to appreciate. So you teach this person another line of life, to say, in this life, we need to appreciate the smallest things that which you get. Appreciate the life. Appreciate what God has given you. You might not at this time have the best of what you anticipate, but count your blessings one by one and see what the Lord is doing. And we know, to say, the more that happens, the more you get a kind of those positive words, and your partner really try. But you must remember that the partner, that which is a victim here, that which the other partner is not pleased with, will need to take a lot of weight, because it requires a lot from you, a stronger and a bigger heart, patience, perseverance. It is required from you, because you are saying, now I need to take this relationship into another direction. But we say words, they've got power. You need to counter the negative words, the resentment, with what is positive. You bring light into the darkness. And then ultimately, when you are consistent and try to really, whenever darkness tries to come, you suppress that, you bring much more light. And when we do like that, ultimately, gradually, 12 months is long. You are going to start to see your partner now starting to appreciate, starting to be positive, starting to be the person that which is a person among the persons.
Mfundisi, I want to close this one, but I want to
Yes.
I want to say something and ask you a question, and maybe think about this question while I'm speaking.
Yes.
The question is, can an unhappy marriage be happy again? Can an unhappy person be happy again? Now, what I want to say, Mfundisi, based on what you are saying here, and I don't want us to drag it because we need to close it.
Yes.
We need to understand that the issues of the brain are not easy to deal with.
Are very complex.
They're very complex.
Yeah.
The brain is a very complex machine on its own.
Yeah.
It needs intention, it needs commitment, and it needs willingness in order for it to change. Now, there are a lot of people who don't understand that in order for them to change how they see, they need to change how they think.
Yes.
And to change how they think, they need to work with their subconscious mind, to program new ways of seeing things. People don't realize that they don't change things in their mind. Whatever that's in there, it's recorded.
Yeah.
They need to adopt new behaviors
Yes.
for them to do things differently. They must also question how their upbringing has affected them. There are some people who grew up very well, but their growing up very well has turned out to be toxic for their partners. For example, you find that they got everything they wanted when they were growing up. So in marriage, they don't know how to experience lack. They don't know how to experience difficulty. They were told that they were the best thing growing up. Now they're in this marriage, and sometimes there are issues that word is not coming out. And instead of them saying, maybe let me drop my expectation because we are fighting here, they get upset to say, even when I'm upset with you, you must still tell me that I'm beautiful. And that's why the Bible is guiding us to say, you cannot be pretty to the world and ugly to your spouse.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't,
The Bible
yeah.
is warning against that. So always be beautiful to your spouse in words, in action, and in everything that you are doing. So I don't want to take it further. I want us to just answer that. Can an unhappy spouse be happy again? Can an unhappy marriage be happy again?
Yes. I believe that. And then when I engage couples for marriage intervention or rescue, I would go back where they've begun. To say, because that information is very much important for every couple, to say, where have you begun? How have you begun your journey? And then we look into that, and then we look how things are. And then most of the people that which we engage with, we realize to say how they began very well, that things were flowing. And then we say, why things were flowing well? Then we get into that information and say, no, there was openness, there was love, there was an understanding, and say, oh, do you see?
So you know it.
Yeah, you know the formula of how things can work. Can we reprint that and bring it now to say this is where we're supposed to be? Yes, there were clouds that which came in. And that is why one of the therapeutic protocol is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, that which we employ. That's where now the couple require the professionals to come to assist them in really moving certain clouds in their cognition to fine-tune their behavior as a result. And then this is the process. I just copy and paste. When we speak, it's quite of a simple process.
Yes, but it's actually a bit challenging.
But it's a very complex process that the therapist will take the couple through just to know where they have been and how then do we remove the clouds and then to arrive where you're supposed to arrive at the end of the day. So in short, we say through the assistance, you can be able to bring the joy that which was there. So there is a hope for everyone. Unless, listen now, unless your marriage or your relationship from the onset, it was a battle. So you do not have a reference at all of how a good relationship can work.
Look like,
Yeah, so if there is no reference, then it will take a lot. We need to restructure that marriage, basically. So we go into the restructuring or re-engineering to refoundation, to start afresh, to say, let's break every foundation. You guys, you need to start to propose each other and fall in love. And then it's a process to say, okay, go through this process.
Restructuring, refoundation, re-engineering. That's how complex this whole process can be. Look, there's no reason for you to remain unhappy. Unhappy marriages, unhappy spouses can be happy again. Let's go back to the beginning. Go back, try to understand the source of your unhappiness. Don't cling on to resentment. It's not necessary. It doesn't please God. God says, let no unkind be found in your body, because your body is a temple of God. We love you. We encourage you to come and contact us. We call ourselves relationships and marriage coaches. We are there waiting for you so that we can help you to become happy again. Shalom. This has been insightful exchange.
Shalom. Thank you.
Away. Yes.